Successfully establishing a productive forage stand starts with forage species selection. Wouldn't it be great if there was a tool which gave you a general list of suitable forages for your project, provide you a forage species overview, and in-depth information on various forage species? That tool actually exists, and it's called the Forage U-Pick tool. The Forage U-Pick tool is meant as an information tool for farmers, ranchers, and land managers in Western Canada to provide information on forage selection, forage seeding rates, and forage weed management. This video focuses on the forage selection tool and provides examples specific to the Bulkley-Nechako and Fraser-Fort George area, although the general principles of the tool will apply to other users as well. You can find the Forage U-Pick tool by either searching for Forage U-Pick or by entering the address for the Forage U-Pick tool in your website browser. Once you've navigated to the website, click on Forages Suited to My Field. Next, select your province. The province of British Columbia is broken up into 3 larger ecoregions: the Peace River Liard, the Central Interior, and the Southern Interior. For today's example, we're looking at a field near Fort Fraser, located west of Vanderhoof. You can see that this area is within the dark blue highlight, so we will select the South Boreal Spruce Zone within the Central Interior region. On the next page, you get to select your field characteristics. Throughout the tool, you will see a question mark next to certain terms. You can click it for more information. For this example, we are looking at a 70-acre pasture which is ready for rejuvenation. The goal is to establish a tame forage mixture which will last at least 10 years, and it'll be used for a once or maybe twice over rotation. The area has silty clay soil texture, a soil pH of 6.0, and no known spring flooding. When working with the Forage U-Pick tool, there are 2 general approaches you can take. As the tool recommends, you could select 1 to 3 selection criteria that have the highest importance for your field. Alternatively, you can select as many criteria as are known to you to get a more narrow selection of recommended forages. In this example, we will select all criteria known to us. The purpose of the forage is for a pasture. We will leave the time of use at no preference, as we may use this pasture possibly in spring, summer, or fall. For this forage stand, we would like to use tame species. The stand longevity should be at least 10 years. The average time available for the forage plants to regrow between uses refers to the rest period provided. In this case, we will provide a rest period of 60 to 80 days, as we will be using a once or maybe twice over rotation. You can leave the field soil texture at no preference, because silty clay is not an option provided for our selection. We will leave erosion tendency, flood tendency, and salinity level at no preference, as these are of lesser importance and possibly unknown for this forage field. We will select slightly acidic, as we know the soil pH to be around 6.0. Now we are ready to view results. You will see legumes and grasses that are being suggested for the field criteria that you've selected. For each of the highlighted forages, you can click on the species of interest to see the top 3 characteristics that they are known for. For more information, you can click on Full Details. There, you can learn more about general information of the species, including longevity, how it is best to be used, optimum time of use, and the need for recovery after use. You can also get more details about its specific adaptability to different areas. When formulating a forage mixture, you may also want to look at the Forage Seeding tab to find out the suggested forages that you could mix this forage with. Here you can also learn about ease of establishment, how competitive a forage species may be, and what other management considerations should be taken into account. At any time, you can return to My Forage list. As you look closer at the suggested forages, you may find that some are not necessarily suitable for the field you're working with. For example, When we click on reed canary grass, we learn that this is suited to floodplains, riparian areas, and wet soils. The landowner knows that this is not the case for this particular field, so why has it been provided as a suggested forage in your forage selection? If you go back to My Field Characteristics, you will see that we didn't specify flooding tendencies in the field. Hence, it will provide options that include all of these criteria. If we want to be more specific, we will have to define the flooding level and soil moisture levels. In this case, we will indicate that it is flooded less than 1 week in the spring. If we now view the results again, we will see that reed canary is no longer a suggested forage species. What other criteria should you be thinking about when you're working on your forage selection? Revisit the intended use. For example, if you click on red top, you will learn that it is mostly a reclamation species, hence it may not be suitable for our pasture stand. Is the selected forage actually adapted to the site conditions that I have at hand? For example, if you click on tall wheatgrass, you will notice that it is a saline-tolerant grass suited to moist areas. Knowing that this field is rather dry, this may not be an ideal selection. Also consider any disease or insect pressures that you may know about in your area. For example, if you're choosing an alfalfa variety, there are many different options available depending on disease or insect pressures that you may be experiencing. What other site knowledge do you have that could influence your forage selection? In this case, the land manager has indicated that he is struggling with Kentucky bluegrass as an undesirable forage, hence he will probably not want to include it in a new forage mixture. When you're selecting forages to be part of a mixture, also consider how the different growth patterns and time of maturity will go together. For example, if you're selecting crested wheatgrass, which is an early growing bunch grass, it may not necessarily go well together with something that's a late-growing creeping grass, such as smooth brome grass. Another example is Russian wild rye, which is an excellent spring and fall or winter forage, but may not be an ideal choice if the rest of your forage stand is meant to mature in the late summer. Also check that the forage species you're selecting are palatable for the livestock intended. For example, hard fescue or sheep fescue may not be an ideal choice, as it only has fair forage value. Sometimes, even if a forage is suitable for your forage mixture, it may not be available. This could be the case with something like hybrid brome grass, where there have been a few years where seed availability was quite low. Another consideration may be the seed economics. For forage species that have large seeds, such as sandfoin, you may find that the seed per pound is quite expensive and may not be suitable for your intended forage budget. However, consider the return of investment depending on how long you intend to be utilizing your forage stand. It could also be the case that you would like to include a grayed-out forage species in your forage mixture. In this case, the land manager would like to include Alside clover because he had good experience with this forage species in fields adjacent to the one to be reseeded. If you run into a situation like that, return to My Field Characteristics and find out which selection criteria has prevented your desired forage species to be included in the suggested forages. In the case of Alside clover, it was the desired stand longevity. If we change the stand longevity to less than 5 years and look at our results again, you will find that Alside clover, along with other legumes and grasses, is now being suggested as a suitable forage. If you click on Alside clover and look into the full details, you can see under General Information that the longevity is considered less than 5 years. However, it is possible to have Alside clover in the stand for at least 10 years, depending on certain management situations and environmental conditions. Working with the forage tool in this way, where you keep changing the field characteristics one by one, you can also learn about the limitations of the different forage species and why they may or may not be suggested for the field criteria you selected. While every effort has been made to compile accurate and useful information, the tool should only be used as a starting point for your decision-making. When selecting a forage or a forage mixture, the Forage U-Pick tool should be used in conjunction with other tools such as talking to a local forage professional, reviewing additional technical resources, and staying informed on new forage research as it becomes available. For additional case studies on how to best utilize the Forage U-Pick tool and other helpful forage-related information, visit the BC Forage Council website at bcforagecouncil.ca.